we're recording the fourth day of our hangout session. Mark is a little ornery, and I'm a little whiny today. And honestly, I guess that's what all of our content is. So it's not
Yeah.
nothing's going to be different.
I'm not,
Um,
I wouldn't say I'm too ornery today.
I'm
I'm pretty
gonna point out
stoked.
our sponsor, alienware.com/Travis, right there. You're not ornery today. You were just. It felt like you were being ornery.
Are we saying the same word or are we saying different words?
You're horny, I believe. Is no
I was saying ornery.
ornery. It's like H. It's kind of like.
Mine's not spelled in H.
Is
Ornery?
it is it not? What is it? How do you spell ornery?
I think you're saying ornery.
Ornery. Yes.
Bad-tempered and combative
Yeah,
with
yeah,
no
yeah,
H.
ornery. Yes.
Okay.
But also, you seem a little horny.
These Osh boys are making me horny. They're doing so good. Their gameplay.
Jesus. Okay. Well, we're not gonna reset this. Even though maybe we
Keep it in
should.
there, dude. That's what this show is.
Yeah. Okay. Today. Okay, it's kind of funny because I've seen some people praising the format for what happened today. I
Mm.
don't think anything that happened today is because of the format. Like, if you had play-ins, there's a good chance you'd have a clash between Osh and Unicorns of Love, regardless. And so it's not a format thing, but it is still pretty cool.
Well, and you would have the VCS number one team here, so there's a potential that the VCS team would have beaten them both and gotten out,
Right.
and then there'd be a tiebreaker that would right now is for second, third, which would have been for third, fourth, and then, it wouldn't matter. They wouldn't even play it. I don't think they play the third, fourth tiebreaker. So it's it's hard to judge how much of this is an impact for the format. I think we just have to appreciate that. Hey, this day looked like it could have sucked, and it didn't.
Yeah, I think that's right. I think that's right. And I would say all the RNG games sucked.
Yeah.
Oh, well, except for actually the Penta game where they had 51 kills by the 27-minute mark. That did not suck. That was
It
great.
didn't suck. And to be honest, when they got the Baron, I was like, is Pentanet really going to come back in this game? And then they
Yeah.
didn't. But,
Yeah.
they also had like the game where they role swapped. That was pretty funny. So I think both you and I slept the first two games.
Yes, we did. We did. And I have a actually this is a perfect place to show the tweet. I have a tweet. We are not the only people sleeping on these games and saying that we have issues. Because I'll show you a tweet from 10 hours ago. Let me see if I can pull it up. There we go. Double If says, because he's been co-viewing, I'm going to go back to regular stream schedule until MSIs and quarters or semis, which is, I think he doesn't understand the format. Sleep has been super rough, and the games are kind of shit, so it's not worth it, IMO, which I kind of disagree with. I don't think the games are shit, but Peter is a professional player who knows way more than I do. So if he says they're shit, then his people should give him way more credit than me. If you enjoyed the game so far, I'll be doing it. And then I just want to show this great. I love Peter. He's my friend. I'm just doing this because I just thought the take was great. But where is it? Where is it? Where is it?
Yeah, it screenshotted, I think.
Oh, here we go. I thought this was a particularly funny
Yeah.
response. Anyway,
I don't think these games have been bad. I don't think they've been bad worse than any other group stage games that featured minor region teams. I think they've even been, in some instances, better. I mean,
yeah.
not
I mean, I think
necessarily in
the
terms of.
gap is closing.
I was going to say in terms of quality of gameplay, you could argue that they're not like, Mad Lions. The reason the games are kind of close is because they're not super clean.
Damwon kind of too. Like, it doesn't feel like Damwon and RNG look just absolutely dominant, right?
Yeah, and the Damwon game wasn't even like they threw. They like I said, I thought for the most part it was more of a result of DFM actually making some decent plays. So I think RNG was absolutely pub stomping their group. Their games were not super fun to watch, other than just being like, look at the massacre. Okay, great. But the other two groups have been pretty good in terms of closeness of competition. Quality, yeah, you can argue, but I don't think that's what I don't think that's what people would ever be like. Oh man, this quality is so bad.
So we've kind of talked about some of the games. We both missed the first two, so apologies if you were looking for Unicorns of Love versus RNG and Unicorns of Love Pentanet analysis. That we are lazy Americans who hamburgers I eat all day. What is the Twitch meme? Anyway, League of Legends I cannot play. But I don't know. What did you think of that the Pentanet RNG game? Because it was really fun. Sorry, the first one, because it was really fun to watch.
How many they play, two or one?
They played two. So they played that last game that was right before the tiebreaker was Pentanet RNG, and then they played that game that we woke up, which was the third game of the day.
Right. Okay.
And that was the one where there were 51 kills at 27 minutes. That was just absolutely like they were just fighting everything.
Yeah, it was pretty great. I don't know. I don't know what there really is to say about it. It was just obviously like a bloodbath. Why can't I find it? What is going on?
Burgers I eat all day. League of Legends I cannot play. EU star players I have to pay. Proper health care and Ocean Away. You guessed it right. I'm NA. There we go. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, like there's a lot of interesting picks today. Like, Chaz played Zed, Kiana, his Lisa, and he's like exclusively 80 carry solo, 80 assassin one trick. So he's fun to watch. And Pabu has been playing better over the course of the tournament. I think he had some rougher games early on, like the Volibear game and stuff, but he's been looking better. Not like he was crapping on RNG, but I don't know. They came back. It was fun. There's not a ton to say.
Let me ask you this. You talked about how you are frustrated when North America plays, to bring it all back to North America, because obviously
I knew it. Yeah.
Do you think that what they were doing was the better way to lose? Because I don't know if they were just being messy and throwing themselves out there, and like that is actually worse League of Legends to play, even though like the kill count seems way higher than if you kind of slowly starve out.
Yeah, I mean, I like what they did. They're like going from volatile game states. If you gave it an assassin like Kiana, and he did get a solo kill. Chaz solo killed Cryan in that game. If you do that because he's not ready for the Kiana matchup, and then you can actually use that to snowball. You got the solo bolo. I gotta work that in. Then he's like, that sounds better than playing Ori, Syndra, and losing lane by 5 or 10 CS or something. And so I think it is the right mentality to go. I don't know if we have to turn this into using Oceania's success to crap on NA. We could.
Well, we can talk about it at the end, because I've seen some people, and I kind of made a tweet talking about like, hey, these players look really good, and they are making it out, obviously in like a weird group or whatever, but like, should we have picked up these players? Because people criticize NA scouting a lot. So we'll talk about that in a little bit, but we can keep going. I don't know, actually, should we keep going? Is there any of these games in particular you really want to talk about?
I think Unicorns of Love all tournament had pretty bad drafts. They seem to be just way off the meta, just giving up power picks left and right to people and stuff like that. I don't know if this was like a lack of scouting or having like a weird idea of what they wanted to do, but I think it was their last RNG game. They literally just gave up everything that they wanted to the opponent, where they're like, is this the draft? They go Rumble Jungle, Cryan gets his Rise, Xiaohu gets his Lucian, and then Ming gets his Nautilus. It is like, that is some of the best champs in the game for RNG. Like, that is their wheelhouse champs pretty much across the board, minus the Rumble, but that's like an A tier pick, and you just left that up. Some of these things were just really weird to me. And then, they would trade Rumble for Morgana and another one, but they definitely seem like they had a pretty bad read on the meta, and I think that compromised their run here.
So I wasn't going to do this because I thought maybe there wouldn't be like a good place to bring it in, but why don't we watch the first answer to my question to Sheepy, because it does kind of relate to some of the stuff. I interviewed him afterwards, and quite frankly, he was I wouldn't say obviously good spirits, but like I messaged Mark and I'm like, I don't want to do this interview because a lot of people don't realize that we have to submit our interview requests like upwards of 24 hours before a match happens. And so it's kind of weird where you like I was like, okay, Unicorns of Love are going to get out. I've already talked to Pabu. It'd be weird to do an interview with the Oceanic team after they lose. We're probably going to see Unicorns of Love get out, so I'll ask for Sheepy so he can like talk about how great it is. Obviously, then the opposite happens. And now I have to hope I can get like an Oceanic interview sometime this week. But yeah, the system's kind of weird on that way. But I did get the Sheepy interview. And it's actually not that bad. I'm kind of glad I did it. But why don't we watch the first bit of it together, and we can talk about it. Well, it is the fourth day of group stage, fifth day of group stage. It is the group stage here at MSI 2021. I'm joined right now by Sheepy from Unicorns of Love with coverage brought to you by Alienware. An unfortunate loss for them today that unfortunately removes them from the tournament. But Sheepy, I mean, maybe you can take me through. Obviously, Unicorns of Love, very, very storied organization. A lot of people expected the win here today. So what went wrong over the course of group stage?
Yeah, and rightfully so. I mean, we expected the win as well. I think if it wasn't so hilarious that we actually lost against a region that doesn't exist anymore, I mean, it's just so unbelievably sad and still funny. And I think you have to take it with like a grain of salt. What happened? It was a really difficult year for us overall. We started out with Froppy, started with English communication, and didn't really get everything rolling. I think that people were overall slacking. Stepping up, learning champions, committing everything. And we're playing here against the best of the best. So if you don't bring, your A game, you're just going to get trampled on and can lose against everybody. So, I mean, congratulations to Panther. They played a good game and, grouped up and then won the team fights. So, yeah, I mean, what happened overall, started with 180 carry, changed to the other one. I think bot lane was really difficult for us this split. I think jungle... enemy junglers overall pretty good. We didn't really find our groove with the new champions as well, with Rumble and Morgana, and I think at the end you can see it that it wasn't our meta. We didn't play the best, and I think now we have time that we really need.
Were there any warning signs going into the event? I mean, I think you probably expected to win today, so I don't know if there were moments during scrims ahead of it or anything where you were like, uh-oh, like maybe we are not where we need to be.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we're definitely not. I mean, I've been watching, everything like LCK, LPL, like just, trying to keep up with all the games, especially, LPL is like a bazillion, and even though they have like different patches and so not, so I know what's being played, how aggressive can people play, what do they expect, jungle rotations, when do they fight 2v2s, 3v3s, at what point are there power spikes, like how do they close out games, so. Yeah, obviously over the year, I didn't feel that we reached that at all. And we had really harsh talks, especially because we lost against the worst team in our league as well. And then we had a really direct talk where I said, like, this is unacceptable. We're playing really embarrassing. And I think people are just not trying their hardest. I think we got a little bit lackluster because we are the best team in Russia for 2 years straight, and there was no competition. And I think it's hurting us, and I think you have to have an absolutely insane mentality to be in not the most demanding region and still, be able to evolve. So I think we failed on that. With a new AD carry, we had not much time to prepare. Lodik also has his bachelor thesis. He has to hand it in 3 days. So he has been working from 6 in the morning until the night, so not too much, to do for him. And I mean, it was just a really difficult split. I think one of the most difficult ones in my entire career. And I've been around like, I don't know, I'm a dinosaur if it comes to coaching.
I mean, we both been around for a long time, so
Sure.
Talking to me, I don't think you need to refer to yourself as a dinosaur in the space.
Yeah, I still remember that you had an interview from Double Lift Room or something like this. That was cool.
We don't need to go down my history. We could talk about the event. And speaking of the event, anyway, we can we could go back to sort of responding to it. That interview will hit my YouTube channel if you guys want to see the rest of it. But I don't know. What do you think of what he was talking about, Mark? It sounds like he kind of agrees with you on some of the meta misread stuff and all that.
Yeah, I think you got it right. I mean, some of the stuff too, I think is partially, I don't know if it's meta read too. Like, the game where I'm talking about, they gave up Lucian. They could have banned it in the 4 or 5 spot, and they didn't. And they blinded Gnar, and he took his Lucian. So maybe it's just they're more concerned, or maybe they didn't know he was going to play that, but they're just more concerned about the Wukong and the Jason stuff. I don't know. It's hard to say, but yeah, definitely some draft problems. And I hear what he's saying about if you're in a minor region and you're just stomping them all the time and you're the best team there, it can be hard to elevate your game to the point that like you'll be ready to go when you head into the bigger waters, because your 80% still wins there, and so like you're not really pushed to give your 100% all the time.
But
so,
Osh, who beat them, isn't even a minor region. They're not even in a region.
Yeah,
they're just a zombie.
I mean, it was nice to hear Sheepy like kind of memeing about that too. Just like we lost to a region that doesn't exist anymore.
Yes, exactly. So, no, but I mean, people talk about that with North America, right? Like Peter used to complain about this all the time, where he'd be on some team that would wreck everyone, then he'd go to an international event and be like, "How am I supposed to prepare for SKT? Whatever. Like, I can't. No one takes games off of us in North America or whatever." It's interesting. Okay, so a couple of quick questions for you, Mark, because rather than go game by game, because I think we don't really necessarily want to do that, and I don't know if there'd be as much interest in a group like this. What does this group say about RNG and RNG's performance in it? Like, I messaged you today and said I think RNG is going to win the whole thing, and you said you don't trust my predictions and you think I'm a joke. And
did I say that? Because I could have, but I don't think I did. Hold on, let's go.
You're looking it up?
Yeah, I'm calling you out.
Well, because so when we both woke up, I look over and I just see RNG's like 5-0 in their group. They don't. None of these games look particularly close. Obviously. No,
you said RNG wins MSI 2021, calling it, and I said, nah, C9 got this.
Yes, that's right. That's right. So that's true. So. I don't know. I think. I'm sorry. I got distracted by something in Twitch chat. Will we see RNG just continue to crush the way that they have in these? I mean, obviously, they're gonna have to go play up Damwon and all that stuff. So I don't expect those games to be as one-sided. But it just. Like, Damwon looks a little more vulnerable. Maybe they are in a tougher group, but I kind of wonder if people are just sleeping on RNG.
I mean, people said RNG was the second favorite to win, and I think right now, if you made them play a best of 5, like today, RNG probably wins. Honestly, they play the meta pretty well. They also have like their unique pocket picks that they're really good at. And I think it's really hard to draft against them. As much as I was saying, like, oh, what were they doing, Unicorns of Love? Well, it's tough, admittedly. And so I can see a world where, RNG is the favorite right now, and they continue and they win. Maybe that happens. But I think I wouldn't count DK out yet, just because, like you're saying, their group is a little harder. I mean, I know we meme C9 and stuff, but, like, they're probably better than the 2 teams in that group that RNG had to go against. Is DatFM? Maybe they are. That's the question that you have to start asking, because they're the ones who really challenge Damwon. But even if it's not about the competition and Damwon's just actively worse right now, they can improve. I mean, it's happened plenty of times where Korean teams struggle a little bit more in group stage. They drop some best of 1 games. It's super hype, and then they just smurf the rest of the tournament. So I wouldn't count out Damwon in 3 weeks when we're playing the final. I think it's in 3 weeks when the final's going on that they are playing RNG and they beat them. But like right now, I think RNG is the best, and I can see why people would put them as their favorites. It's closer now than it was heading into the tournament for me. I still don't know if I'd count out Damwon just yet.
Okay. So if you had to make a prediction, you'd predict Damwon based on like the 2 weeks that are still going.
Yeah. I think what would make me change my prediction, like, it's definitely, like I said, it's closer. It was probably like 60-70% for me for Damwon before. Now it's maybe like 55. I think if we go into the next round robin stage and RNG looks really good against them, then I'd be like, all right, yeah, I don't think it's just an improvement thing. I think they are actually just better. Like if they play if both people are playing like meta matchups and they're playing them well, and Dom1's just losing to RNG, that's when I'm like, wow, Dom1's just actually in trouble.
Yeah. Okay. So what else? Oh, so maybe now we have. Is
What
there
do you mean
anything else to
dodging
talk about
prediction
from
questions?
today?
I just fucking said I'm still
Yeah, that
predicting
guy's just a
Dom1 to
troll.
win.
I'm just gonna time him out. He's been trying to pick fights all day. Twitch chat, going
Fucking
crazy.
goon.
Okay,
You didn't predict the thing that I thought you'd predict, so you're not making predictions.
is there anything else to talk about from today's game specifically, or should I open it up to some of the broader topics?
I mean, we can talk. We didn't really talk about Pentanet beating like the actual game where they took down Unicorns of Love.
Well, they did it twice today, right? Yeah.
Well, yes, they did it twice, but the one that actually won them the game,
The tiebreaker.
the tiebreaker, yeah.
What did you think of it?
I thought it was really cool because again, we see some innovation with the Karthus jungle coming out, which is just shows that they're willing to like do some scrappy shit. It was also a slower game because you could tell that the teams knew each other better, also knew this was like the super important game, and I think it shows that like Osh didn't just rely on upsetting Unicorns of Love. It wasn't just like we're doing troll shit. They still played an aggressive comp. You know, anytime you have Jace, Lee Sin as your side lanes, it's a pretty aggro comp. But I don't think it was like a coin flip game where they fought level 3, got 3 kills, and then ran over the game. You know, it was back and forth for a little bit. And I think Praedyth looked really good. He's been hot and cold, let's say, this tournament. But when he's hot, he can really carry a game. So I don't know. I was impressed with Osh, and I think that no matter what happens in the group stage, the Rumble stage, they'll be fun to watch because they just have cool picks and an aggressive play style.
Well, and if you tell me that they take some game, they seem like the spoilers. That's what I will.
They're the ones
who
do. Fuck up NA.
Yes.
Knock us out of the play-ins. Or
it won't even be a
stage.
thing where they like. Okay, so let's just assume NA is getting through, which like I don't know. Yeah. But let's just assume NA is getting through. They end up in the Rumble stage. I could see it not even be a thing where like OS takes a game off NA, but instead OS takes a game off of. It's like a crazy upset that like OS still can't move on, but it fucks over the numbers, and so then it like screws up NA's ability to get out or something like that stuff. I feel like that
always. I could just see
them
beating us and being like, "Eat shit, big brother."
Yeah, wasn't that so? Like Vietnam did something like that. I think one time. And I know like Southeast Asia has always done stuff like that too, where like, you know, whatever top team ends up dropping a game and then suddenly it screws up the numbers or whatever. But yeah, I don't know. I'm excited to see them going forward, and I do hope that like, I mean, my Pabu interview we talked about how he sort of has, he thinks it's okay, and like currently the state of Oceania is you are a league that is right below NA amateur in terms of like path to pro. Like you go and you compete in what LCO now is what it's called, and then you like hopefully end up getting picked up for. Sorry, did I say amateur? I meant academy for LCS academy, and then you hopefully get your way into LCS. And so, I mean, you can see a world where like if these guys do well here, maybe they do well at Worlds, and then you know we see them playing in academy, or maybe even starting for some of the lower level LCS teams next year.
Yeah, I think the only thing that sucks for them is that they have to deal with like the whole visa situation. I don't know how hard it is for Australia to get
it's
visas.
Not that hard.
Yeah, I would think that they'd be one of the easier ones. But it is an extra hurdle that any other players have to deal with when you talk about, you know, orgs weighing them against academy or amateur prospects.
This is me. I am not a lawyer, but I know there's something called like an E3 visa because we have like a trade agreement with Australia that makes it way easier to get Australians into the country than I once had to get an Australian visa, and so I learned a lot about visas during that time. That's a true story. Okay.
Here's an idea. What if the NA orgs, because it probably wouldn't cost that much compared to some of the things that they're doing, what if they just paid all the OS players, stuck them in an apartment complex, and just had them play here?
Like LCO just competes in LA?
I guess, yeah. I mean, like, just stick them over here. They can still be their own region. They just happen to be, you know, like, like this little commonwealth in LA.
Somebody says
And there's
pit
still
them
the
in
LCO.
Chicago.
Even better, yes. Stick them in Chicago. They don't need to be in LA for any particular reason. Stick them in Chicago. I mean, maybe it depends what scrims are worth, versus that, because then you'd have more latency for scrims. But yeah, just bring over all the good LCO players, everyone. You don't even need to make them a team. Just put like a little pool together of NA investor money. And there's still.
But then you make that region, you make that league only Australian or Oceanic.
Yeah,
I mean,
it's still the Oceanic League. You've just literally lifted it and put it here. I don't know what the rules are for their tournaments, but they're not playing in person right now, I assume. So just like I said, it's like a little independent Commonwealth right here.
I mean, then they're in the NA solo queue system.
They're in the NA solo queue system. We can scrim them. Maybe this isn't good for them.
How many teams are in LCO? Does anybody know?
I'll be honest. I don't really know
Aussies
anything
or
about
New
the
Zealanders
rules.
in the chat, let us know.
Any OSHs?
There's 8.
We can afford that.
So you
import one less pro player. Import one less of the top imports, and you can probably just use that to handle it.
You got 40 pros that you're adding to the solo queue system. How much are you paying them on average? 50K?
I don't know. What's like 2 million 5 by 8? I know I should be able to do this in my head.
It's
but
$2 million. If you're paying if you've got 40 players and you are paying them 50K, it's $2 million in salary. You probably add like $1 million more in like other costs. So for $3 million,
which is some of the salaries, supposedly some of the top tier salaries.
Right. You can have one Sword Art, or you can have the entire Australian League.
Yeah, I was saying by 8, because you would just hand the teams the money to come live there and let them maybe handle it themselves. Maybe don't trust them to do it themselves. You just import the entire ecosystem.
Well, so Riot is probably paying a little bit of money to, I think ESL in Australia runs that league. I think they might be paying a little bit of money. I'd be surprised if they weren't. And then you have an interesting thing where you have a league. I mean, not obviously I've not been a huge advocate of, or not a big believer in sub LCS leagues in North America getting a lot of viewership, but you could potentially sell some sponsors for that league and make back some of your money. You're probably not going to make it all back.
As the orgs?
Yeah. So you, as the 10 LCS orgs, you say, we are now going to run the LCO.
Oh, you buy the rights from ESL.
Well, you're not, I mean, ESL, you don't need to buy rights, I guess. You just run this instead.
Yeah.
And you're like, hey, we now own this league. We are going to sell it to Australian and North American sponsors, and it will run concurrently with Academy and Amateur, and those pros will compete in our leagues. You only need 250K from each team to do this, right?
Well, we have 10 teams, so it'd be a little less. It'd be like
yeah, but then you have to pay a little bit more for the housing and all that stuff, right? So
yeah, let's say something like that. I mean, you could probably get away with paying them less than 50K too.
Well, some of them are probably a little bit more than 50K, right?
I don't know. Are they?
I don't know. I hope Habu could get paid more than 50K if he's competing in this thing.
Why not get LJL? Because they would count as imports once we steal them.
Because the other thing is Chicago is going to be way cheaper than California too.
This went from a joke to a terrible idea that you're convincing yourself is good. No, I don't think it's a good idea. We're really just debating the feasibility.
Well, I guess that's what it is. Is like it went from something that seems ridiculous to something that is like not a great idea, but is actually hilariously easy to do given the amount of money that's being spent in the LCS space already.
Right. The biggest holdup would probably be one Riot being like, no, you cannot just take the Oceanic.
I mean, what are you talking about? Riot just killed this league, and Riot did not, I think, try to create the LCO. I think this was born out of the ashes of like all these guys trying to make it happen. Like the.
But they have
Spawn's
to have
buddies.
some, because they gave this. They decide who goes and represents Osh.
Right.
They gave them the seeds.
Well,
so
they
somehow,
said there's going to be some sort of tournament. So I think that's the thing is like they could have just held like an open tournament to decide who could go. And so yeah, you're right that like Riot could just invalidate this, but Riot already made Australia part or Oceania part of North America. So it's like it would be very hypocritical, I feel like, for Riot to wreck this.
Well, there we go. That's our solution. I don't even know what problem we just solved. I don't think we solved any. I think we just created a bunch.
I
more
think we
problems.
solved every problem. We just
okay.
made Oceania and North America better as regions.
Maybe. But yeah, they're really fun to watch. I had a good time. You're right that this is a day where it's harder to talk about things because so many games didn't matter. Like
well,
all
they were
the
just like everybody played each other, so only 3 teams. So
yeah, and then like it's a pretty results oriented day. And I think the next 2 coming up will be pretty results oriented. We're like,
did
let's
Papa
say,
Smithy just get here? Sorry, he showed up in chat, and I'm wondering he must have missed. It would have been amazing to have him here for all our genius plan.
Papa, quick
LCO.
recap because I don't want to like I think Twitch chat's over the joke, but we are saying like what's the feasibility of getting all NA teams? We were saying like realistically it's probably one of the top import salaries, like a couple million.
It's two if you pay every LCO player, you pay 5 players across 8 teams, $50,000 a year. That's $2 million, which is at least what several players are being paid in the LCS.
Yeah, so you just bring them over to LA and we just run the LCO out of LA like a little,
or Chicago. You need the league to run an OS prime time, which is a bit rip. What time is it in Sydney right now? Because I don't think it's actually that hard to do that. It's 5:55 a.m. Oh, you're talking about doing it prime time. I mean, they can. Oceanic players can watch it midday, right? If you do it Saturday and Sunday. What if you do it Saturday and Sunday? I mean, obviously it's running against the LCS at that point in time, but like, yeah. We used to run LCS games against LCS games. All right. Anyway, he says realistically, just give them all collegiate sponsorships. That's more lucrative for them anyway. Yeah, I don't know. Okay, so whatever. We can. Maybe this will turn into a video of like the worst best idea that Mark and I have ever come up with, and we formalize it with graphs and charts and budgets.
I would love to get really bad ones too. Like I have a whiteboard I'll pull off the wall and just draw a pie chart myself.
Like a scuffed run it.
Yeah.
Hey, because this is we decided to do this video with the same budget approximations between LCO and LCS.
If run it is the LCS, this is the LCO.
Okay. All right. Oh, okay. Here's the next question for you, though. Is this, because we were kind of talking about this and then I saw some people tweeting about this. Is Oceania's success here a sort of a bit of an embarrassment for North American scouting, who had the opportunity to pull a bunch of Oceanic talent out of the region at the end of last year, and instead we didn't pull these 5 players?
Maybe a little bit, because it's hard to say, because a lot of these guys you would have seen before. Most of them have played on the LCS, or I mean the world stage. Like I think almost all of them have. I don't think Decoy has, and I know Pabu played All Stars, but I don't know the last time he actually made Worlds. It might have been a little while since Pabu actually made Worlds, if he has.
Maybe Faker in the 1v1.
Why do I know BioPanther and Praedyth then? Am I crazy? Have they not played play-ins before? Hold on.
Here, I'll read out while Mark is investigating. Thank you,
BioPanther
Ghost
has
Rider.
as a sub.
Oh, he went as a sub? Okay.
Maybe. I don't know.
Well, while you're looking, Ghost Rider, thank you for the 19 months. Tom Shu for the 30 months. Tom Shu's proposing we trade CLG to OCE for Pentanet. Omega Diamonds Inc., thank you for the 28 months. Horny Jail for Kaisa, thank you for the 6 months. Hang out in jail. Good luck. MSU Gerard for the 17 months. JHAG86, thank you for
World
the Prime.
2018. Yeah.
So what do we got?
BioPanther has at least.
Okay.
So here's the thing too is maybe my brain's just getting scrambled because I've heard of all these players before and I'm just assuming I only would have heard of them if they made the world stage. I think that's what's happening. Also, Spawn talks to me all the time about OCE players. I'm always like, Spawn, stop it. Stop filling my head.
I mean, every
with
time
this
he's on
player.
Hotline Link, he's just like, Bubble Panda 72. That's an amazing player, and like Bubble Panda deserves to be in North America. And we're just like, yeah, Bubble Panda.
Yeah. All right. You know what? Less of them have made it than I thought before. But BioPanther did make Worlds in 2018, but he was the only one. Yeah. So maybe it's an embarrassment. Like, could they have asked people like Spawn, like, do you think these guys have a chance? Did Spawn think they had a chance? If Spawn wasn't like hardcore pushing for any of these players, then it's hard to be like, well, why didn't the NA talent scouts see them and know they'd be good?
Well, Spawn, I remember on Hotline League said he couldn't. It was hard for him to share all the information with everybody because he took the job for TL.
Right. Yeah. But I mean, like, regardless of other casters and people from the OS region who I assume were tapped for like, hey, who do you think is good? And so if these players weren't being hyped up by their own region's, experts in some ways, then I could understand why it wouldn't really be a rub on NA for trusting that. And it's obviously like this team, it's an incredible story. But we talked about VCS not being there. It's like they probably don't get out if VCS is there, and I don't want to like downplay their achievement in any way, but I think.
Do you think this team? Do you think Pentanet is better than some of the bottom LCS teams?
Mm-hmm. Probably, but that might be less about like individual skill and more like team culture and how they all get along and stuff like that. Because it's not like if you necessarily take Pabu out of this group and put them in an NA ecosystem with 3 NA players or 2 NA players and then like 2 Korean imports probably or European imports or something, that like his play style remains the way that it is. Like, this team's really, really hyphy. Like, I could see a world where the NA ecosystem players and stuff kind of beat some of his tendencies out of him to be a more consistent player, that's not meta exactly. Don't play that kind of thing. I could see.
Well, let me ask you this: assuming there's no ethical issues with this, because I don't know, I haven't thought through it enough to know if somebody's going to be like, "How dare you do this to the OS ecosystem" or something. Jack is a wild guy, and I could totally see him doing something like this. Let's say this team goes to Worlds, again has a good showing. Should Jack just make this his academy team next year? Like, let's just say you take all of Pentanet, you just bring them over, and you make them your academy team.
Sure. Like, we already talked about how much money that probably costs in the grand scheme of things. It's actually not that much.
It might be less than he's paying on academy right now.
It also depends, of course, about, like, I don't know how much salary visas cost to get all that. But, how much would it cost to actually bring all 5 over? Probably not so much that you couldn't do it or anything.
He sells one of his. So people in the chat saying King is a better 80 by far. Just sell King, and that's your moving costs right there.
Yeah. And I'm sure selling Licorice and like the package deal that he did last year is plenty to spend on these guys. I mean, I think he spent a lot of that also on perks, but yeah, I mean, it doesn't even need to be him. Anyone could probably do it. Anyone of the top like 4 spenders.
DLNA Uzi Lol in chat, who just exists to be a troll now, who, despite not having very many timeouts before and over 1,000 messages, says this is way too much of an overreaction to them getting out as a result of VSCS not being here. I mean, I trust Mark, and when Mark tells me he thinks this team is better than some of the bottom LCS teams, then I'm saying this team should be an academy. And that's so I don't think it's that. But I do love people are like, why are you still talking about this idea? And then another person says this is a great idea. Clearly, this is controversial.
I
That's what we're
think
getting
the
at.
point is we don't know. Like anyone who says with certainty, like, no, this team would suck ass in NA, or like, no, this team would crush NA. They don't really know. They don't want to say it, but they don't actually know. You know. So it's an investment. Like all things, there's an opportunity cost. You bring these guys over, you see how they are. Maybe they're great. Maybe you keep this 5 synergy. They're cool. They do well in academy.
Danny Zhang is accusing me of supporting removing the import cap. No, I think this is within the current rule set. I am not suggesting that if we do this, it means we also need to be able to bring Damwon over and the full 5. Okay, somebody in the chat, where are they? They said, I'm trying to find it. They said, Mark, I missed the blame game. Oh, it's the Grim 96.
Yeah, me too, man. That was a good show.
Would you ever bring it back?
Probably never in my life.
Okay.
What killed it? Better paying opportunities that took less work.
Is that true? I thought you also just got tired of doing it for spending 2 days a week building this out the whole show.
I mean, that's basically what I said there with that. Is like it was around 20 hours of work for an episode, 10 to 20 hours. So.
Okay. Anything else from today to talk about, or have we talked about everything there is to talk about? I guess we can do predictions for tomorrow.
Oh, we do have to do that.
Ready?
Texting Ashley, but you can go.
Oh. Okay. Lions over Wildcats, even though that match was fire last time.
Wait, I'm not ready.
Okay, you said okay. You know what? In honor of Rob's Day, have you heard about this?
No, I saw some memes about it. I'm definitely out of the loop on it though.
So, in Brazil, they are here. I'll read this message that I got from a Brazilian fan. Hey Travis, can we count on you to support us on Rob's Day? Your Brazilian fans would appreciate it. I said, what is it? And they said Brazilian fans are starting this hashtag to show support for Pain Gaming tomorrow. Even TSM and RNG are in on it. You could simply tweet it, or if you want to go all the way like most are, you could also temporarily change your profile pic to run is it Robo or Robo? Because I've heard it pronounced both ways. We don't know.
This sounds like the Pukey style thing.
Pain Gaming's top laner. I'm going to say Robo because
it's Robo, I'm pretty sure.
Pain Gaming's top laner for the minor regions, Travis. And then I tweeted it. And then when I tweeted it, a bunch of people tweeted at me and said, sorry, we're ignoring this because you didn't change your profile picture. So all I would say is, despite the person telling me that I didn't have to change my profile picture to get in on it, I would only do it if you're ready to change your profile picture to a picture. But in honor of that, I'm going to predict Pain over PSG Talon, PSG Talon over Wildcats. Fuck it. Pain over Mad Lions, Pain over Wildcats again, and then Mad Lions over PSG Talon. Hashtag Rob's Day.
So you're predicting Pain to win all 3 of their games and get out?
Yes. They're going 3-0 tomorrow for Rob's Day.
That's amazing. I'm going to go Mad Lions, then PSG, then Mad Lions, then Istanbul.
Oh my God, you're not celebrating Rob's Day at all. You're predicting them going 0-3.
I'm predicting them 0-3, and then I feel like the day, because they'll be secured in first place, I feel like Mad Lions lose to PSG at the end of the day. I think they'll be already set for first place, and I think they'll lose a game.
Way to get in the holiday spirit, Mark. Did you talk to your mom yet?
Not yet.
Well, it's Mother's Day. If you're watching this and you've forgotten and it's still May 9th and you live in the United States, it's Mother's Day. I don't know if they celebrate Mother's Day on this day in other countries. Maybe Canada? Anybody else in chat and someplace that's not the U.S. where it's also Mother's Day? Hasumi says, is this this is pre-recorded? Question mark.
Yep.
Yes, it's pre-recorded. Glad you asked.
We consulted an oracle to know you're going to ask that question.
Yeah, it's Mother's Day, and that's what it is. We actually scripted in that, and we're on an alternate account. Hasumi quad 0 is actually my secret Twitch account.
See, that's a smarter one than my psychic angle.
Yeah.
Or more believable.
Right. Okay. Is Hotline League on Monday or Tuesday this week? Oh, fuck it.
We didn't settle this, but we'll
do it Tuesday.
Thank you. I'm glad
we need to figure out who we can get on. I'm wondering if we can get an EU person to stay up late.
What's Pabu doing?
I don't know, but he probably scrimming and trying to get ready. I do want to try to interview him, but yeah.
Iceland, it's 8:00 there, so they're 7 hours ahead. So if he wants to get up at 6 o'clock in the morning,
it's not. Well, that wouldn't be 6. It would be like we start at 7. So
4.
Yeah.
3. I'm not doing math.
Okay, chat. Any other questions or topics you think we need to talk about before we close out?
I feel like we need to get some OCE person to get excited. Spawn's a good suggestion.
Yeah, that's true. The only problem is like Spawn. It's sometimes hard to have discussions with because we'll just be like, "Who's getting out first in the Rumble stage?" And he'll be like, "Listen, guys, the koalas have been feeding me Vegemite all night long, and I now know that it's gonna be Oceania."
So he's an entertainer. You're complaining because he's entertaining?
I'm not complaining. I'm just saying it's difficult to have like a big discussion about the teams before if Australia is involved. Get an OS player like from LCS like FBI. A lot of these players don't watch these games. For instance, Double If not watching the games. Not that he's currently an LCS player, but
I bet the OS guys were watching, right?
Maybe. I don't know. If you told me not, I would believe you. Or I would believe you. Anything else you guys want us to talk about? We've had Medios on previously. Is he watching these? I don't know. Are those guys co-viewing?
Midbeast? I'd get Midbeast on if he was on. I tried to use his copy pasta. I haven't had a chance to do it yet.
Oh, Midbeast would be kind of cool, yeah. Our show is not at a bad time for Australia, so I wonder if we could get somebody who is in Australia to come on.
I feel like is Spawn not in Australia right now?
No, I think he is. But again, like I
don't like Spawn. Ooh.
I like Spawn. I actually really like Spawn.
Doesn't sound like you like him.
You can say that you're unsure about somebody. Oh, by the way, we love Azale. Azale's our friend. Azale having to delete his tweet because he was like, it's disrespectful that RNG's playing with the sub, and then RNG just shit stuff. That was pretty funny. I'm gonna say that. I was like, this is a dangerous tweet to make. He better hope that like this game does not look super clean. And then all the other analysts and people just started subtweeting him by being like, "Oh, look, Xiaohu on Rise is not that bad actually. Perhaps they're not trolling."
Yeah, I didn't watch it closely or Twitter closely during that game, so I didn't see people subtweeting him.
Yeah.
I mean, I agree with this point ultimately. Like, you don't want someone to do some troll shit in a game that matters to some people, but not to others. But I think Xiaohu going back mid and playing Rise is definitely less of a...
Yeah. No, I mean, I think that's part of the problem is like that this obviously happens in competitive play. I'm not sure if this is the game to be dying on that hill over.
I don't think he was dying on that hill either.
I mean, he had to delete the tweet.
I'm sure, yeah.
Why do you always try to undermine me, Mark?
You mean give a different perspective?
Yeah.
You want me to just echo chamber?
Yeah, that would be great.
What if instead of having me, you pre-recorded yourself agreeing with yourself? And then you could just you have like you know how you have the thing of you clapping from Just have that basically, but be a
All right.
soundboard.
I don't really see too many other people saying too much stuff in the chat. So I think it's time to wrap this baby up. We can see if Midbeast wants to come. I don't know. We'll talk about it. I'm not making any commitments, but maybe
You just DM random Oceanic people and see if any of them say yes.
I'm trying to think of a very random. Wait, what's the name of the really cool New Zealand Prime Minister?
Peter Jackson?
No, it's like what's Jacinda Ardern, I believe is how I believe how you say her name. She's awesome, and maybe
Was she in Lord of the Rings?
Maybe we can see if she can come on.
Wasn't every single New Zealander who was ever born or will be ever born in Lord of the Rings?
Really great way of just stereotyping an entire country, Mark, down to one movie or 3 movies, I guess. Okay. Jules Super HD says, Travis, if you get Jacinda Ardern, I will lose my mind. Well, listen, we did push it to Tuesday, which gives us an extra 24 hours to try to make the head of state for a sovereign nation come on Hotline League for 2 hours and take calls about League of Legends competitive stuff. So, like, I mean, there's a higher chance than there was if we were doing it on Monday.
And that's what we do on this show. We play the odds.
Yeah. Okay. That is, oh, by the way, no, I'll tell you later. Okay. This has been our wrap up MSI show. Thanks for watching. We'll see you tomorrow. Boom. Oh, please subscribe because I'm still losing subscribers. I lost 5 subscribers yesterday on the channel. So please, I need to replace these people that are fleeing my channel because they no longer watch competitive.
Did you see the YouTube comment that was like, YouTube is just cleansing bots? And
yeah, but then I also saw a YouTube
accounts.
comment that said, Travis, I'm done watching League of Legends. North America is a joke. I'll resubscribe to your channel if you start making LCK content. Always
Did
really
you check
enjoyed
to
your
see if
stuff.
that person
Bye.
unsubscribed?
I didn't, but that they didn't. There was no reason to believe that they were lying. I also don't.
There's
know
no
how
reason to
check that.
believe them either. Most people just say shit for attention. So you're like complaining about people leaving. He's like, oh, I know. I'll complain that I'm gonna leave, and then Travis will respond to me.
Mark, I believe the people. All right.
I don't believe anybody. I'm a cynic. All right, where's this schmuck? He was on the recap video, right? Or was he?
Yeah, I think
here
he was
he
on the
is.
recap video. You're talking
I
about.
don't- one subscriber. Wait, where do I see who he's subscribed to? Can I?
I don't know if you can.
Oh, I thought you could see who people
Yeah, I
were
think
subscribed
maybe you
to.
can. Maybe you can. We're trying.
Oh, subscriptions. Oh,
they-
you're not. He doesn't subscribe to you anymore.
Yeah. See, I told you. Yanko's on the show, guys. Do you know how hard it is to get G2 players to do anything, especially at 4 a.m.? My God, you guys are crazy. I probably have an easier chance of getting Jacinda Ardern on the show than I do Yankos up at 4 a.m. to do this. I mean, I love the G2 guys, but like, it's difficult to get them to do stuff. Okay, this is the show. It's over. Bye.